Thank you, Sushma, and thank you, Felix, for presenting to this distinguished group the story of Operation Nica Welcome. It's an extraordinary honor for me to be here with you tonight to accept this prestigious award on behalf of a large group of dedicated public servants who negotiated, planned, and executed Operation Nica Welcome last year. It's been wonderful to see some of my colleagues who worked so hard on this effort here with us tonight. And I do want to send my regards to the many, many of them who could not be with us here, but who contributed so much to making this happen. I'm also moved to see Felix here tonight and his wife, Berta. He was part of the group that flew to freedom on February 9th of last year. He was part of a remarkable group of brave political leaders, renowned journalists, private sector and student leaders, campesinos, human rights defenders, and local activists from all over Nicaragua. Some were barely 20 years old. Some were pushing 80. Some had been detained for nearly 5 years since the democracy protests of 2018. Their diversity reflected the breadth of the repression that the country suffered under the Ortega Murillo regime, which closed all remaining political space in 2021, an election year in which the regime feared to face any genuine political competition at all. My colleagues and I knew many of these people personally, the prisoners, and we knew the sacrifices that they made, as was said tonight, in standing up to tyranny. We knew or subsequently met many of their family members, and we knew of their sacrifices as well. I know many of you here tonight knew some of the prisoners as well. Their imprisonment was personally painful to us in the U.S. diplomatic mission, in addition to being an affront to international democratic norms. We in the U.S. government had tried many different approaches to seek the release of Nicaraguan political prisoners during that time. With the help of NGOs like Freedom House and other partners in the international community, we denounced their detention. We helped pass resolutions at the Organization of American States and the United Nations calling for their release. The U.S. government and other governments imposed sanctions to hold accountable those who were responsible for violating those rights. We worked to ensure, as Felix said so eloquently, that the public did not lose sight of the humanity or the vulnerability of these people, the prisoners. We also pursued negotiations in various ways without success, but made sure to keep communication channels open with the Ortega Murillo regime in the hope that eventually we would get an opportunity to make progress. That moment came in late January last year. I could hardly believe my ears when I confirmed in a face-to-face meeting that the regime was prepared to release all the prisoners. I could not believe that they said all the prisoners, if we would take them. And that was my job. There began a delicate negotiation on the terms of that release. Nicaraguan Foreign Minister Dennis Moncada insisted that that effort must remain absolutely secret until it was carried out or it could all fall apart. So together we launched an urgent project that would eventually involve hundreds of U.S. government personnel from various agencies working in complete secrecy to identify resources on the fly and make arrangements to fly these prisoners out, approve their admission to the United States, and make plans to assist with their resettlement here. None of these things was easy. From the first moment, though, and at the highest levels of the Biden administration, there was a clear decision that we must seize this opportunity to rescue this group and to restore hope to millions of Nicaraguans who had lost it. Our pre-existing democracy programs, which I'm happy to say have enjoyed bipartisan support, made it possible for us to do this. Were they not there, we could not have done that. So many people contributed to this effort at the White House, the State Department, USAID, Department of Homeland Security, and even local authorities in Virginia. My colleague Tressa Finnerty deserves enormous credit for setting up a village of volunteers on incredibly short notice that provided first care to 222 Nicaraguans arriving at Dulles International Airport with only the clothes on their backs in the middle of February. USAID and the State Department's Bureau of Human Rights, Democracy, Human Rights, and Labor, and their implementing partners moved mountains to make this rescue possible, as did our own Bureau of Western Hemisphere Affairs at State under the leadership of Brian Nichols and Ricardo Zuniga, who were the officials who got my first phone call and let me convince them that all of this was really possible in spite of everything that they knew. Getting final agreement from Ortega to free the 222 was touch and go until the very last moment. But when it finally came, I cannot describe to you the joy that I felt. We mobilized our embassy team to the tarmac in Managua in the middle of the night to make initial contact with the passengers and board them. Our colleague Marta Youth, who Felix mentioned, was part of our crew of Nicaraguan diplomatic veterans who helped those freed process what I know were very intense and conflicting emotions. Notifying families that their loved ones would soon be free, and embracing them coming off the aircraft together with my good friend Marcela was a moment that I can assure you neither of us will ever forget. The success of Operation Nica Welcome in bringing home 222 political prisoners out of Daniel Ortega's prisons into freedom in the United States was a testament to the enduring commitment of the United States to support those fighting for democracy and freedom around the world, even in their darkest hour. This is who we are, and this is who we must continue to be. I would like to thank Freedom House for recognizing that our effort was imbued with the same spirit and dedication that Ambassador Palmer and previous winners of this award brought to this noble cause. Our work together must continue, and we all must continue to support the brave Nicaraguans who are still working tirelessly for a return to democracy that their fellow citizens so desperately want and deserve. Thank you very much.